The only thing my wife could think to say to the man we witnessed being kidnapped the other day was this: "We won't let you be forgotten." She reminded him that he has the right to remain silent and to only speak to his lawyer. He said, "I'm not a criminal, so why are they doing this?" My wife had no answer for him, only the hard solace of, "We won't let you be forgotten." We saw a Maine State Trooper had pulled over a brown man in our town, so we stopped to ask what was happening. We contacted other community members, but it was all over before anyone else got there. It was all at 10 minutes. Our strategy was this: I kept the attention of the police so that she could speak to the man being detained. The trooper informed us that he had personally called Border Patrol and that they were en route to pick the man up. There's two things from that interaction that are noteworthy. The first is that the state trooper himself called Border Patrol, not dispatch, him. He may have been following protocol, but as the Nuremberg trials established, that does not excuse him. He is personally liable for the life of the man he helped kidnap. The legal status of the man who was kidnapped is unclear at the moment, but more importantly, it's irrelevant. Being here without documentation is a civil misdemeanor. It's the same level of infraction as jaywalking or having car windows that are tinted too dark. Somehow I doubt that the state police would call professional kidnappers to abduct me if my windows were tinted darker than 35%. The man they kidnapped was pulled over for driving without plates. He had bought a vehicle literally 5 minutes earlier and was driving less than a mile to the town office to have it registered. If that had been me, any cop would have at most given me a ticket and told me to walk to the town office. In reality, they would have told me not to do it again and to hurry up. I don't care about anecdotes about cops being hard on white people. I'm telling you about the town I grew up in, which is where this happened. White rednecks like me drive unregistered, uninspected shitbox vehicles all day, every day here. We get pulled over, we don't get kidnapped by secret police forces for civil misdemeanors. The Border Patrol truck that came to kidnap the man had windows tinted darker than 35%, so the kidnapper was committing the same level of offense as the man he kidnapped, but the state trooper didn't care about that. He just conspired in a kidnapping as a state cop. The second thing I want to point out is that both the state trooper and the Border Patrol officer were communicating with a tone of civility and professionalism throughout the entire kidnapping, both to me and the man they kidnapped. That's their shield. They want to keep the conversation civil, which is part of the pretense that this is normal. Imagine someone repeatedly punching you in the face, and when you scream at them, they say, "Wow, you're being so disrespectful right now. I can't believe you expect me to talk to you when you're acting like this." I started off the interaction with the state trooper very respectfully because I didn't know if they were going to kidnap the man, and I didn't want to escalate in a way that put him at greater risk. When it became clear that they were kidnapping him, I got more direct. I asked the state trooper if he identifies as a fascist. He said he didn't know what that word means. I asked him if he supports tyranny. He said he didn't know that word either. He was very respectful, very calm. But that's like being calm and respectful while you assault someone. ICE and Border Patrol are sending people to death camps under the orders of a tyrant dictator. And this cop is hiding behind his civil tone, his ignorance, and his badge. I don't mean ignorance as in not knowing something. I mean ignorance as in willfully ignoring something. But neither his civility nor his ignorance excuse him from what he's doing. An ignorant civil fascist is still a fascist. In fact, these are central tools of fascism. They rely on civility and ignorance in their officers, in their victims, and in our communities. We continued to ask where the man was being taken, and the kidnapper used the fact that we were upset with him as an excuse to not disclose where the man was being kidnapped to. I was enraged during this interaction, and I was terrified. My wife was there, who is a brown, queer Latina. She's a full U.S. citizen, but ICE is absolutely kidnapping U.S. citizens as you watch this, and they are working to start kidnapping more citizens. So the possibility that this kidnapper would decide to take my wife was never far from my mind. My first instinct was to post the entire video of that interaction with the names of both officers and the badge number of the state trooper. And I won't, because it would put people close to me at higher risk than they or I are comfortable with. This is how increasing levels of state violence serve to protect the perpetrators of that violence from accountability. In a just or safer world, the most at-risk people would feel not only safe, but excited to share the name of people in positions of power who are kidnapping our neighbors. That's not the world we're in now. After they took the man away, my wife and I stood there by the side of the road sobbing and holding each other. We both knew that we may be the last people who are not fascists or incarcerated by fascists to see that man. Unlike my last neighbor who they kidnapped, there's been zero communication of any kind with this man. No one can find out where he is, not a single phone call, not a single record anywhere. He's simply gone. I invite you to sit with that for a moment. My wife and I watched his terrified face as he was shoved into the back of a truck, as he asked why they were doing this, and my wife told him that he wouldn't be forgotten. That may be the last word or glimpse anyone not incarcerated ever has of this human being. Driving away felt surreal. We were on our way to a Juneteenth celebration when this happened, and trying to shift gears back into that was intense. We had to stop for gas, and I went in to pay and get a cup of coffee. Being present for this horrifying act of state violence and then getting coffee was really wild. Maybe because I looked messed up, the cashier asked in a more genuine way than usual how I was doing. So I told her we'd just seen Border Patrol kidnap another of our neighbors. Immediately, she notified her coworkers from the kitchen and out back, and all 4 gas station attendants were instantly outraged. They all started talking about how they'd hide people in the back room, just bring in anyone who needs protection there. As I left, my spouse heard them informing the incoming customers, who were all white, that ICE was running raids in the area and to protect anyone at risk. I share this just as a reminder that normal people don't support fascism. Odds are good your local gas station attendants want to protect at-risk people as well. The fascists are a small minority committing unspeakable evil. Remember that. For a little bit of good news, both houses of the Maine State House just passed LD 1971, which will prohibit collaboration between law enforcement and Border Patrol ICE. As soon as the governor signs it, which she almost certainly will, that will be law. And what that state trooper did will be explicitly illegal, in addition to being ethically inexcusable. Laws alone will not save us now, but they are one small part of the diversity of tactics that these times call for. If you can get similar bills passed in your states, there is a concrete benefit to at-risk people in your community. You can also contact your police departments. You can call them, show up at their offices, and let them know what you think. It was massive public protests of the Wells, Maine Police Department that led them to cancel their collaboration contract with ICE. Most senators and congresspeople don't really care what you think anymore. They're acting like there won't be another election. But sometimes, cops don't like it when they realize the entire community they're serving sees them as kidnapping fascists. That's not what most of them signed up for. The trooper who facilitated this last kidnapping looked like he was about to cry when I kept asking him if he was proud to be tearing families apart and terrorizing children, what it felt like to be a kidnapper. He really didn't like it. That's not who he wants to be or how he thinks of himself, but it's absolutely who he was. I hope that tomorrow he decides not to be a fascist. I understand the temptation to say he won't change, that he won't care, that the people committing these crimes are too far gone to be human. But I've been a harmful piece of shit in my life. I've been deemed too far gone. I was a fucked up, traumatized, harmful addict. And it was not righteous judgment or ostracization that led me to whatever levels of healing I've managed so far. It was community, education, and clear pathways to being welcomed. People saying, we want you here like this. Ethics of disposability are the foundation of fascism, no matter what flavor they are. They prevent coalition work. They drive people to think of themselves as monsters who have to hide their nature. Disposability ethics are the heart of dehumanization. My Latino neighbors being kidnapped are not disposable. You are not disposable. No one is disposable. Yes, that means that cops, fascists, and perpetrators are not disposable without pathways of return to community. There is no pathway out of the cycles of dehumanization and violence that we are in. Behind the badges, they are still humans, and our only hope lies in rehumanization. No matter how righteous and vindicated you are, if your ethics around harm are not oriented to rehumanization and reintegration, then they are punitive and carceral, and punishment and incarceration are dehumanizing fascist practices. The people saying they'll never forgive Trump voters are actively causing harm. I'm not saying that survivors have to forgive or sit with perpetrators. There are people I won't sit with, at least for a long time, but I will not bar them from community. I actively want other people to welcome them, and I support that work. And I will work to create pathways of return and repair with everyone I can, and I actively work to expand that range of people for myself. If you haven't read Starhawk's Fifth Sacred Thing and City of Refuge series, please do. So I say this to you now, whoever you are, whatever you've done. There is a place for you set at our table if you will choose to join us. I'm not saying it'll be easy. If you're the Border Patrol officer who kidnapped a man in front of me the other day, I'm fucking furious with you. But whenever you choose to put down your badge and weapons, you're welcome at our table nonetheless, even in the heat of my anger. I wanted to join the Marine Corps as a teenager, and it was the luck of my circumstances that spared me from that. I would have been a rageful, traumatized teenager with power and the full social and structural authority of the U.S. military glorifying my actions in Iraq. Who knows what crimes I would have committed? Should I pretend that I'm better than ICE agents because the dice of my life fell with a slightly different side facing up? I don't have the arrogance or hubris for righteousness or disposability. I just want to know this. Who will you be? Can you find the strength and courage to look at yourself? Do you believe in healing or not?